Hi and welcome to Podium. I hope this finds you well. Recently I did a webinar called Mental Health and Confidence in Sport, and I shared how it was for me when I was a player. So here are the highlights of that webinar. I wrote the article Mental Health and Confidence in Sport, and it just came to me. I went right back to when I was a national athlete and how much I struggled. And I just have so much heart for people that struggle when they want to do stuff and they just can't, because I didn't know back then what I know now in terms of how the mind is working to create experience. So as I was reflecting earlier on, I started to see, wow, what is this? What is this thing about confidence? As a player, I would have these really horrible feelings of being nervous and feeling really anxious about my upcoming performances. And I was playing for Hong Kong at the time. I did World Championship in 95 and I did another World Championship previously in 91. So I was a kind of 8 years at the elite end of performance. But I really had such a problem with my nerves, and I was very skillful and I would have trained hours and hours and hours. But when it came to performing, I just could not conquer my nerves. And what I was considering in the garden here today was, because I didn't like the feeling, I didn't like the feeling of nerves and I didn't like the feeling of being anxious, I thought there was something wrong. And I thought that there was something I needed more of in order to be able to perform, in order to be able to feel okay. And of course, you then label it. And then once I'd labeled it, I need to get more confident. Otherwise, I'm just not going to be able to perform. And then I start to go into a whole world of lack. Because if I needed something more, then I must be lacking. I must be lacking in confidence or resilience or the X factor, whatever it is, just because I didn't like the feeling that I was having, or that I was misinterpreting the feeling that I was having, that somehow, because I was having this feeling of nervousness, my skill capacity wouldn't be there for me when I needed it. All of that happens. It's all happening inside my mind. And I didn't see that I was making this all up. And I was creating all of these stories inside my mind. And that's kind of the conversation that I've been involved in the last 7 years since I come across this understanding of the mind, known as the 3 principles behind the human experience, which was uncovered by the late Sydney Banks. And you can find more about that work, if you're not familiar with it, on www.3pgc.org. I spent 10 years training. I was training with the Australian coaches, and in netball, if you know netball, I trained. My coach was Jill McIntosh. She was probably one of and Norma Plummer, one of the best coaches in the world. Yet I had a terrible time with what I deemed to be lack of confidence. And yet, when I there was no doubt I had the skills, because I trained and trained and trained, but I wasn't able to bring that forward when it counts, because of what it is I made up in my mind that I needed in order to be okay, and what I needed in order to perform well. It looks like that we need more of something, when in actual fact, I do really well when I have less on my mind. We can see in any human endeavor that if we're in the moment and we're really present, and we're just exploring what's possible through this physical body and mind, and we don't even have expectation on it. I call this kind of a maximum download of this intelligence behind life, but this creative potential just seems to just ooze through us.
And we can see that in kids, don't we? When they don't have these stories running in their mind that they need to hit this level or earn this amount of money or get this grade or please their partner or somebody like them. They don't have all that stuff. They just play. And when they just play, they just living. We have in our conditioning just so much imagination. We've created so many beliefs, and yet we don't see them. We don't see these beliefs that are keeping us limited and keeping us restricted and really sabotaging this incredible creative process that we've got going for us as human beings. That's really helpful for people. And it was really helpful for me when I could see that I was making up inside my mind this experience of fear and anxiety when it came to performance in sport. As a national coach, I really started to see, well, hold on a minute, Denise, sometimes you're nervous, sometimes you're not. It's the same game. What's that about? And we know in sport that as soon as we start, those pre-nerves, they go. Well, where have they gone? If they came from the environment and the match, shouldn't they be there the whole time? And that's another little clue, if you like, another piece of evidence to suggest that maybe my experience is not coming from out there and I'm just creating it through this power of thought and brought to life through the sensory system, through consciousness, because that's how it works. And maybe I don't have to take any notice of it. I mean, fancy not taking any notice of the way you feel. That's quite something. And that was a revelation to me, to see that, Denise, it's okay to feel. It doesn't mean what you think it means. It doesn't mean that your skills have gone on holiday. It doesn't mean that you lack anything. It doesn't mean you now need to go on confidence training. The creative process inside human beings and the intelligence inside human beings is incredible. Like 2 cells make a human being. My heart is beating. And Denise is not on that. I am not making that happen. You know, my dinner is digesting. I'm not doing that. It's happening all by itself. So there's something else going on here behind the scenes. And when we want to, as human beings, live healthy, happy, high performance and fulfilling lives, wouldn't it make sense to just have a look at that? The more we see, the more it just takes stuff off our mind. So it's a case of, I don't have to work on the thoughts of feeling anxious or not confident about something. As soon as I see it for what it is, this fluid energy, if you like, it's like, yep, spotted, got you. It's seen. And once it's seen, it dissolves. It's obsolete. It doesn't bother anymore. It's like, yep, game's up. We can be in our conditioning and be in our thinking and expressing ourselves. And if it doesn't serve us, we have the power to, I guess, kind of come out of the play. It's like we have the power to switch roles or we have the power to, I don't know, create a new play instantly. We don't have to stay in it. We don't have to entertain the drama of it. We can spot it and go, oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's my thinking in the moment, and that's changing. It's not a permanent gig. Now, the thing that is constant and permanent is I am going to get a new thought, which is going to give me another feeling. So it's really helpful to start to see, how do we work? And I love to go underneath that with people, because it unleashes this incredible potential in us. And it stops in its tracks the conditioning and the habitual thinking that we have as a base. You know, I was talking to a business person. They said that they've got a list of 50 people that they could call, and prospective clients, but they can't call because they're not confident. And that was his layer of operating from is, I'm not a confident person. And then he started to tell me where that comes from. Well, I'm not confident because something happened in my upbringing, or my parents, or the situation I'm in. So we can always justify this layer. In his mind, he was lacking confidence or self-esteem. And it's like that's the boat they're in. And it's innocent. And me too, right? Me too, because I'll have boats, don't worry. I'll find myself, oh, that's the boat you're in at the moment, Denise. You're in this veil of insecurity. And then I get to see it, because I know where to look. I know the direction to look when I'm in a feeling which I sense is unhelpful. And then I get to remember, and that sends me in a different direction. One which is much more helpful and much more productive and effective in life.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the webinar highlights. If you'd like to get in touch with me, you can contact me on denise.holland@class-performance.com, or there's all sorts of things on my website at www.class-performance.com. And until we speak to each other again, I hope you have a wonderful day.